get a bit of involvement. Like I said, it's been filmed for YouTube as well. So unfortunately, if you're watching this on YouTube, this goes up afterwards and you can't win the competition prize. I'm also going to announce my guests this week. And so a couple of things I want to talk to you about before we start. So yeah, let's get going. We've got enough people in there. So now I'll start the YouTube. So welcome YouTube. So those watching this on YouTube, this is an Instagram live show that I try to do on Monday evenings with a topic, a drum lesson, a few bits and pieces, hopefully get some Q&As in, and etc, etc. If you're watching this on Instagram, it's got announced today, I won in the gym. Well done. Oh, sorry, I'm going to read this out. So the Global UK Drum Off winners got announced today, and I won in the junior category. Well done. That's Aidan Scally, drums. So congratulations. Where does that get announced? Is it announced on their website, etc, etc? And I'm sure you're a rightful winner. I'm sorry you couldn't do the Young Drum of the Year this year, but obviously you've got another year to get ready for it for next year. So come back and tell me where that gets announced as well, Aidan, and I'll give that a shout out. So let's talk about a couple of things. To start off with, I want to talk about this product, the GruvX. Okay, so I'm sure that some of you have seen this on my YouTube or on my Instagram, and it's a product that Russ Miller did a long time ago in association with Yamaha, which was called the Wedge, I think, if I remember rightly, back in those days. I'm sure. Okay, so it was announced on Tone Alley. Okay, well done anyway, Aidan. Congratulations. I wanted to talk about this last week. Didn't have them in stock last week. I've now finally got some. So Russ Miller was involved in this, and he sent me 3 variations of them in 3 different colours. This, as you can see, is the gold sparkle, very pretty. I've got one on here which is the wooden one, and I've got one on my 12-inch snare drum which is a black one, and it's got a copper inlay. I don't know if you can really see these. It's got a copper inlay. I need to show that onto YouTube as well. So it gives it a nice click, and which I'll show you in a minute, but it's also got this adapter here, so it actually can fit. So those go through the tension rods, that sits onto the drum, and it can actually fit from a 10-inch all the way up to a 15-inch. They're very nicely made. Like I said, they're doing various colours. You adapt it through where the tension rod goes, but you can also adapt. I don't know if I can do it without undoing it. So basically, you've got some Allen key screws here, and you just can move this so it fits nicely. So I'm going to show this onto YouTube as well for those that are watching this on Instagram to see what I'm doing. And I've got one. This is the gold sparkle, correct? Gold sparkle, it's beautiful. And I am going to give one of these away. Not today, but I will be giving one of these away. We just need to get some reviews of them done first. But I've got one set up on a snare drum here. So I'm going to move my, I'm going to move the Instagram camera down to this, so you can see. So this is on a Benny Greb snare drum. So just to show you, this is like a wooden one. Russ asked me what colour my drum was, and I said, well, I've got various drums, but so I just want to show you this. So this is on the 13. There is a couple of demos I've done on my Instagram, but let me just give you an idea of. So normally, I mean, you're going to be using the camera, I'm afraid, on this. You're going to get the audio off this camera, but normally there would be your click. So with the, I don't know if you can notice it, but if you were putting it through a desk, you definitely would notice the DSB level's gone up. So there's a and it gives you a consistent So anyway, that is the GruvX. Go over to their website or their Instagram. Give them a follow. Check them out. See what you think. Like I said, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be giving away one of those. I'm really impressed with them. And it's a product, the Yamaha rim wedge that they did before. Like I said, I think that's what it's called. Maybe someone can come up and just correct me if I've got that wrong. I was a big fan of that, and then when Russ or Yamaha decided not to make those anymore, I think was the situation, then it sort of disappeared. And I've seen them going online for like a silly money. They used to do one like this, and they used to do one with jingles in them. And then they used to do a Cascara, Yamaha Groove Wedge. Thank you very much, Fernando Drums. And I really liked them. I was a really big fan of them, and I know a lot of people, when they disappeared, were a bit upset. And I have seen them going online for like some silly money. So this is great. It's, like I said, it's Russ's company. It's set up. There's a couple of people involved in it. So go over and check that out anyway. So that's that. What else have we got to talk about today? Right, so the next thing is, we talked about it last week, my Zoom masterclass, which will be the last one of the year, is going to take place on the 8th. It will be my third masterclass with a guest coming in. I never announce the guest is a surprise, but normally relevant to the topic. And this topic this time is developing creative patterns. So you can sit back, have a drink, watch it on Zoom. There's only 15 people participating. Half the tickets have gone already. And I normally, or hopefully, will be teaching you some concepts and some ideas. And then my guests will then participate by telling, and we'll try and get some ideas from them as well. I'm not giving away whether it's male or female. I'm not giving away any of that. It's like I said, it's a surprise guest. Never announced the guest, but the guest has been confirmed now. So that is on the 8th of. It's a Tuesday night, 8th of December, so it's next Tuesday. It's the last one of the year. Just DM me if you're interested or want to know more details about that. But that's a Zoom masterclass. Like I said, you can sit in the comfort of your space. It's 8 o'clock at night, hour and a half, £15. Right, so, thought tonight was a good topic. Again, thank you for sending in some questions and some ideas about topics. And I've gone with this one tonight because I just thought it was a very good one, because I'm actually going through this stage myself at the moment about thinking about this. The topic was about learning and adapting. Now, the topic was more about what's happened over the last, whatever it is now, 7 months, 8 months maybe, 9 months, whatever it is, lost trail, that we've all been in lockdown or in isolation or whatever you want to do. It's different to what we're not used to. So, but I decided I was going to expand this topic. So like I said, the topic is about learning and adapting. So if anyone wants to participate or anyone that's got any questions about this topic, please stick them in the question mark and I will get round to it. So I've been giving this a thought today. It only came in, the topic came in sort of mid-morning, and I was thinking about this particular topic and thinking, well, I feel that anyone that's creative and anyone that's been or is involved in any form of the arts or any form of creativity or even in business has to learn and has to adapt. And unfortunately, if you don't learn and adapt, you will get left behind. And there's some stories going on in the news at the moment, various stories about companies that have been around for a long, long time, established businesses that are now closing down. Not in the music industry, but just in general in the industries. And you look at their business models and you think, well, they haven't adapted or they haven't moved with the times. So I thought, well, this is, like I said, a really, really good topic, and it's sort of a topic that I've talked about before in various questions that have come up, but not in detail. So when I first left school and wanted to be a professional drummer, which was a long, long time ago now, if I was still doing the same thing as I did when I left school, now I wouldn't be working in the music industry anymore. There's no doubt about that. Because things have changed and things have adapted. If a band makes their first album, and I know this is maybe would be a little bit strange for those that are watching this that have never been in this position, but sometimes the first album is the easiest album to make, because it's a process that the band have been going on for a long time. They may have been doing the clubs or playing around the university circuit, etc., trying their material out with the audience, seeing what works, what doesn't work. And so the process is a reasonably easy process, the first album. The big problem, and you'll see this discussed a lot with artists and bands, is the next album or the next album, etc., etc. And it's the same as a professional musician or anyone that wants to be artistic, or anyone that is artistic. Not a fact of wanting to be artistic, you either are or you're not. And that is that you have to change with the times, and you have to learn new skills, and you have to adapt. So let's look at this in separate topics. Learning and adapting was the topic. Let's start with learning. So okay, obviously you've learnt your instrument, or you've learnt your skill, whatever it is. You never stop learning your skill. I practice things now completely different to what I practiced when I first started to play the drums. And when I'm talking about when I first started to play the drums, I mean maybe 4 or 5 years into playing the drums when I was actually gigging. So the first bit, obviously you learn the skill, and then you start thinking about what you want to do. So, for example, the first time I got sacked when I was, 18 years old, for not being able to read properly, thinking I could read, I decided that's never ever going to happen to me again. I'm never ever going to be put in that situation again. I'm going to make sure that I can read whatever's been put in front of me, rightly or wrongly. That's the decision I made. I didn't like that feeling of failure. I didn't like that feeling of 25 musicians, older musicians, sitting around me as I packed down my drum kit, which obviously takes a lot longer than putting a trumpet into a case and walking out the door. Drum kits are going to take a while. That humiliation feel, I just never wanted to do that. So I decided I've got 2 options here. I either say that's it, never going to do this again, or I learn. And I think maybe that moment, okay, that particular moment was about reading, but that moment probably made me change the way that I went forward, because whenever a situation came along and put me into an awkward situation or I failed, I would go and work out why and learn from it. I've openly discussed this before, but the click, working to a click, wasn't that common when I first started playing or was started to gig. It's certainly not something that was as common as it is now in the studio. I'm just moving this snare drum out of the way. So when the click came along, and more studios that I was playing in at the time started to want to use this form of a click, and Pro Tools started coming along, and we needed some kind of reference or grid system, my playing with a click wasn't. I mean, I don't know if my timing. I think I've always worked with a metronome from early days of playing with a drum teacher, but it wasn't so much the metronome. It was about feeling the divisions, the subdivisions between the notes. So I learned it. I had to go away and I learned it. And again, I've openly discussed this before. One of the ways that I did this was, I remember I've always been into my running, and I used to run with a metronome. And I used to set my pace, whether it was triplets or 16th notes. I would run whatever the subdivisions were. That would be my running. And years later, when I spoke to professional athletes, that's exactly how they train. It's all about pace. It's all about the breathing, etc., etc. And that's the same process that we needed for drumming. So I found that when I needed to learn more about a click and playing in time, that was the way that I could do it. When I was out running and I could feel subdivisions, and I could feel, for example, 16th notes or semiquavers, whatever you want to call them, I would run that. So then when it came to putting it down onto the drum kit, everything was in place. My breathing was correct, etc., etc. So, learning is something we always have to do, and even now, at my age, I'm constantly learning. And if anything over the last 9 months has taught us was that we've had to learn and we've had to adapt. And whether it's right or wrong, we've been forced into this situation. We've had to learn to change what we do. As many of you know, I mean, I never did this, for example. I'm learning to talk to myself in a screen, which is something that is not natural to me. I'm so used to that communicating with somebody, but this has become something that's normal. I've taught myself to be able to teach online, which I never did before. Learn how to do it, how to communicate, which was the biggest issue that I had, learning this communication. And so again, we've had to adapt and we've had to learn. And there's those people in all of my period of playing the drums. There are those people that didn't want to learn to read, and then maybe they got left behind and they didn't get the gigs that I might have got, or there's those people that didn't want to learn to play to a click, and they got left. They always would go, no, it's never. I don't need to learn to play to a click. That's never going to stick. And of course, it did. And even up to now, we've had to learn and we've had to adapt. Now, unfortunately, some of this has been taken out of our hands because, unfortunately, we can't play. As many of you know, many of you are in bands. Many of you want to go into the studio with your friends and practice, etc., etc., etc. We can't do that, okay? That's been taken away from us at the moment. But what we could do is we can adapt and we can learn new skill sets. So I've seen many people, for example, doing videos with 3 or 4 members of different bands in different houses. People have learned that. We never had that skill set before. I've learnt to, like I said, my biggest issue with education and teaching was I'm always been a person that's wanted to have that connection. I feel that especially with playing the drums, we want that connection with our student. Anyone that's played a musical instrument for a long, long time knows what a drum kit feels like. They can feel a drum kit. You don't have to look at the kit. You don't have to see what's going on to be able to feel it. Well, that was taken away from us when it went online. It was a completely different situation. So I didn't necessarily have to learn, although in the studio I've got cameras, I've got the audio, I've had to learn how to adapt to that. My biggest issue was trying to feel connected with the student. And as most of you know that are into arts or artistic, that's the biggest issue that we've all had. You can't get away from playing a gig with an audience. It's just the most amazing feeling. The crowd reacting to whether there's 5 people in the pub or in a club, or whether there's 5,000 people, the reaction is what we thrive off of. And that's the same as when we're teaching, or whether we're in the presence of someone else. It's that interaction. That's why we play. So we've had to learn. I've certainly had to learn to adapt because of that. If I had a choice, would I have gone to online teaching? No. I've openly discussed this before. I've stayed away from it for so many years, rightly or wrongly. I probably never needed to before. Where now I've had to, and actually I've now learned to enjoy that experience. There's benefits from learning online that aren't there before, that I've learned. So I've enjoyed that kind of concept. I feel like every week I'm getting better. Like I said, I've read about it, I've spoken to people, I've spoken to other drum teachers, I've looked at other ways that people, like, for example, psychiatrists. I've looked at books and watched videos on how psychiatrists are talking to their patients online, because I think that must be the hardest part to communicate. So I've read up on that. I've read up on, like, for example, when the football had to stop. they never knew when the teams were coming back. So I spoke to sports scientists about how they were communicating and how they were getting that kind of message over with their footballers, because all of a sudden it could have gone back and everyone was going to come back. So I read up on that, and I've used those skill sets to help with what I've done to learn and adapt in this situation. So maybe there might be some people on here that might like to just chime in, maybe with some questions, or even if you haven't got any questions about that, you may have some comments about it. So it's learning to adapt, which, like I said, is the topic today, and we have to learn and adapt. So maybe artistic people have adapted better than a lot of people, because for all of our lives and all our careers, we've had to do that. And if we don't, we get left behind. 21 years ago, when I set up mydolbear.com, I had no idea about websites. I had no idea how all that worked. Again, I've openly discussed this before. I had to learn. 5 years down the road, things were changing. I had to learn. Even now, where websites are now not as popular as they were, I've had to adapt to that. So now social media is a big part of a website, or YouTube is a big part of a website. So some people want to read content, and so I have to make that accessible. On my website, if you want to read about things, you can, but some people don't want to read about it. Maybe some people want to do this now. You know, they just want to sit and watch. Okay, so I have to adapt. I think the important message with all of this is we have to change. We are not right all the time. We can have an opinion about what we think is right, and that's fine. But I think if you stick to your opinions and you think, no, this is the way I'm going to do it, and I'm not going to change, then you will unfortunately get left behind. Again, I've discussed this quite openly on here before. I have a couple of things that I stick to, and the main thing is I can't control things that are out of my control. I can't control when the government are going to tell me I can go back to work. I can't control when theatres are going to open, or when concerts open again. So I'm just going to read this out, Ollie, before it disappears. So Ollie has just come in here and said, my lessons online have been great because technology and how you've made it very easy to adapt. My online lessons are going really well. Thank you, Ollie. Well, Ollie's actually one of my students. I didn't pay him to say that. But I can't control what goes on. There's things that I just can't control, and I'm not going to get stressed out. Is it going to affect me or us? Of course it is. Of course it's going to affect us. There's lots of things that are going on around the world that we feel annoyed and angry about. But if we put too much negative energy in that, we're going to get left behind. We've got to control what we can control. I can control this. I can control what I do with my website. I can control what I do with a pair of drumsticks. I can control how I run my life. I can, to a certain extent, I can control what happens within my family. I can give advice to that. But there's other things that I can't control, or we can't control. And what's going on at the moment around the world, we can't control it. I'm not saying I'm not happy or unhappy about it, but we can't control it. So am I going to waste my energy and my mental energy on that and worry about that? Or am I going to try and go, well, how can I get through this? So learning and adapting has been a huge part of what's going on for everybody at the moment. Mental health has been the worst for a lot of people than it's ever been. And so again, maybe one of the things that I talk to a lot of my students about this who are worried, and it could be, normally it's a financial reason why people are worried, obviously, and rightly so. We've all got those issues that are going on at the moment. But you know what? And I know it's not going to pay the bills, and it's not going to solve the issue, but sometimes a good walk outside, you know, open up your lungs, etc., etc. I've heard of you for years, but since you're doing this and having your interviews with drummers, I'm a fan now. Thank you very much, Corey. I appreciate that. I'm just here to help, hopefully. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people doing some amazing things out there, and that has been a really positive thing about social media. There's been some great things, there's some great stuff online. There's some people being openly discussing things. But like I said, I think that we have to remember this, learning and adapting. The one thing we do know is that this is not going to last forever, okay? But it could last for a while. Have you, right, so Jules Drums has just come in and said, have you felt despondent at any point during the pandemic? How did you turn that around? Totally. In fact, on a weekly basis, I have to say. On a weekly basis, because, and again, I've openly discussed this before, I am as concerned as everyone else. I live in a house with, well, I suppose this is a big problem. I live in a house with 3 girls, so there's enough to be worried about. But my wife is a dance teacher who right now is teaching 6-year-olds how to tap dance in our living room on Zoom. My daughter left performing arts school after 7 years last year, and all the work that she had got cancelled. My oldest daughter was meant to travel. I'm going to come back to this one in a minute, so I'm just going to pause this for a second. So I've had worries. Absolutely, I've had worries. Maybe these Instagram chats and maybe these things that I've done maybe have helped me out as much as they've helped anyone else. What have I done? Routine. I come into my studio and I try to stick to routine. Somebody said to me the other day about being busy, and I'm like, yeah, I'm super busy. Am I earning money for being super busy? No, but I'm keeping myself busy. And like I said, maybe these are helping me as much as they're helping anyone else, because it's giving me a routine. I'm certainly not doing it for likes, followers, because that doesn't, I mean, that, honestly, I've said it so many times, it doesn't bother me. It's nice that that's happening, but I try to keep in contact with students. Many people that will watch this later or watching this now that do know me know that I try to FaceTime people a lot and talk to people, friends, colleagues, whether it's, I mean, even tonight I've had some texts up to 20 minutes ago with Steve Smith discussing The Crown season 4, and it's just, so that's been really nice because we've been able to connect, and I find that just helps me. I always remember that there's a lot of people a lot worse off than us, and I think you have to remember that. Fitness has helped me keep through this. I've always been into my fitness. I've always endorsed that fitness helps mentally me to keep alert. I don't struggle with mental issues like some of my friends do, so I can't come up here and say that. But yes, I felt disillusioned. But I tried to get into a routine. I tried to get outside. I tried to get some exercise. I find that if I can go for a run, I'm fortunate enough I can sort of rewire the brain. I was injured for about 2 months. I pulled a muscle, which is the first time I've ever done that. I've got osteoarthritis in my right shoulder, so I've always been a gym goer. Haven't been able to go to the gym because of this now, anyway. So yeah, that stuff like that doesn't help me. But I try to find other things that are going to help. And I think talking to people. So, you know, the important thing is, and we've discussed this so many times on here, is it's okay not to feel okay. It's okay. Everybody goes through it, and you're going to go through it. I'd be more concerned if you don't go through it. A student of mine this week, I reached out because they said something online about not feeling okay, and I just dropped them a line and said, just checking in, making sure you're okay. And I said, I'm more concerned that it's the first time you've had this. I mean, everybody, you have to accept that. Everyone's going to be like that. Now, Ali, right, same here, Corey. Mike's interviews and chats have been something to look forward to. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Ali, and I know you've been here from the beginning. And I will continue doing them. I said this at the beginning. I never ever expected them to be lasting this long. I've got more live chats planned almost up to the end of the year. So, and I'm glad that they're helping. And the DMs and the messages have been amazing. The actual live views now are down, but that's because people watch them again later. But anyway, so yes, it is okay to, I do have days, or sometimes it could be a couple of hours when you're like, oh dear. Sometimes it could be days. But it goes back to that thing that I said to you before, that it's not going to do me much good by having those moments. There's not a lot you can do about it, but it's not going to do me much good. You have to sort of try and find a way of getting out of it, and it could be anything. It really can. Sometimes the people close to you maybe don't understand it as much as an outsider or someone on here. Just finding someone on here that you can DM and just talk about stuff, etc., etc. It is something, and now this year has been even worse for everyone. And again, I suppose that something goes back to the topic. The topic is learning and adapting, and I guess that's exactly part of that. We've all had to learn. We've all had to adapt. You know, we have to learn how to deal with stress. Everyone's going to have stress in their lives. You know, and I remember somebody saying to me on a very, very big event that I worked on, they turned around and they said, look, at the end of the day, we're not saving lives. We're not doctors that are doing open heart surgery, or we're not soldiers that are saying, we're just playing music. And so let's just get a little bit of perspective on this. And so try and just relax, deal with the stress. Like I said, I know it's a tough time at the moment, and I'm not taking any of that away, but we've all dealt with that. So that was the topic today. Like I said, learning and adapting. By all means, please put anything else in that question mark box if you've got anything else you want to say. I want to come to today's lesson, and anyone that saw the video that I put up today, I thought I was going to do this in two folds, and I put the lesson up today. In fact, I put the lesson up today, and I hope that Kira is still in here, because if Kira is still here, maybe Kira, you could just come up here and tell me again the name of your YouTube videos. That will hopefully make sense to Kira if she's in here. But I watched a video today of Richard Jupp being interviewed. I've seen a few of these videos, and which was great, by the way. It was a really nice, honest interview. It's up on YouTube, and like I said, I'm hoping that Kira can come up here in a minute and tell me. If not, you have to go to Kira Drums, and I'm sure you can get the information from there. But he was talking about that he just gets up in the morning and he goes in on his drums and he just plays his drums for 5-10 minutes and videos it, whatever happens. And it sort of struck a note with me. Now, although I don't plan any of the stuff that I put up on my Instagram, and I put more, I don't ever, I want it to be mistakes and all, because that's obviously what we're doing. I don't like to see videos personally on YouTube or on Instagram that the polished article. I don't want that, because it's not real. I want to see stuff that's, you know, what we're working on. So today I decided I'm going to put up an exercise of something I just play around with. I use various patterns, but this is the inverted double strokes. So go back to my Instagram videos. If you're watching it on YouTube, you have to go to Instagram for this, and you can see today's lesson about the inverted double stroke rolls around the kit. So I thought, right, well, I want to explain that a little bit more, because I tried to do it in 1 minute. So today's lesson, so this is where I tried to put this video in the right place. If Kira comes in and tells me the name of the website, I'm not going to see it, because I'm going to try and show you onto my little practice kit over here, which, by the way, is set up right next to my drum kit. So the inverted double stroke roll was an exercise that I was shown many years ago by one of my teachers called Kenny Clare. Right, so if Kira comes in, put it in the question mark box so I can look at it in a minute. Excuse me. So we all know what a double stroke roll is. Okay. Now, Kenny Clare showed me this exercise to help me work on the second part, the double, because a lot of people would lose the second roll. So what you do is you start with a single stroke. So if you're going right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, if you start with a single stroke, the beat is on the second beat. So we start that again. Doubles. So I'm going to put a single stroke in now. so if you play it up to tempo, so this. By the way, it's meant to get faster. Okay, so that's the exercise that I'm talking about on the Instagram clip today. But you can now play this with both hands. Again, anyone that follows me knows, anyone that has lessons with me knows I'm a big, it's important that you work on your weaker hand. So this exercise, by playing a paradiddle, okay, you can turn it over to the opposite hand. Okay, so if I want to go paradiddle, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, right, left. Okay, so here's your feet. For the moment, I'm on my left hand. I want to turn it back to the right hand and put a paradiddle. So it's like, there's your right hand. Paradiddle left, left, right, left, left, right. Okay, so that's the tempo. Okay, so that is an explanation about today's lesson. I do apologise, I keep making mistakes. Sometimes I can't read it and say the same. Now, I don't know if I found out the name of that website today, but anyway, just go over to Clark, go over to Kira Drums, just running down this to see if she did come up with something. No, okay, fine. So, anyway, any questions? I've got a few giveaways. I'm going to give, I've only got they're small giveaways today, but they're very handy, and I've got 2 to give away. So what I've got this week is I've got 2 packs of Remo slams, felt slams, to go on the bass drum. There's 2 different ones. There's the white and the black. Obviously, they both do different textures. They're very, very helpful. They're very useful, very cool. And I've got 2 sets to give away this week. So I'm looking for 2 people to come in and give me, or maybe I'll do 2 questions. Okay, so before I tell you who this week's guests are, and unfortunately you have to be watching this live, so if you're watching this on Instagram afterwards, you can't win these. And if you're watching it on YouTube, you can't win these. So I do apologise about that. But the first question I'm going to ask you is, I told you about the drummer that is related to design these, the new groove click. So can you tell me who the drummer is? That's the first one. First one in, and tells me that wins the prize. So dun 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 dun. I almost feel like I need to do a drum roll. And then while I'm waiting for that, hang on a minute, we've got it. Jules Drums. Okay, well done. You've won it. So the first person in was Jules Drums. Okay, Jules, can you please DM me your address? And one of these is for you, okay? And I've got 2. So the second one I'm going to give away, okay? Again, let's see how much attention you're paying here. So the second one was, I was just talking about my Instagram drum lesson. And I mentioned one of my old drum teachers that taught me the inverted double stroke roll. Can anyone tell me who that drum teacher was? That's a trickier one. Don't know how much attention you were paying. And while I'm waiting for that to come in, if I don't get it, I might have to change my question. While I'm waiting for that to come in, this week's guests. Okay, I'm really excited about this week's guests. First of all, tomorrow night's guest is somebody that you might not know a lot about, but you now need to go and check out. And by tuning in tomorrow, it's going to be great. It's Live Chat 93, and it's going to be with a great drummer percussionist called Lucy Landemore. who's an incredible percussionist, incredible drummer. I first came across her many years ago when she was studying at the Royal College of Music, and she won the BBC Percussionist of the Year. In fact, she played Black Page on the drum kit, which is still on YouTube. You can check it out. I worked with Lucy, which we discussed tomorrow. I got her a job, and then she's now been doing the Hans Zimmer gig on kit, and she's also a percussionist. Like I said, go over and check her out. Right, I don't think anyone, but I can't win twice. Well, that's up to you, Jules. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. You want it. It doesn't look like anyone can tell me who one of my drum teachers was. It doesn't look like at the moment that we've got a person coming in for that one, because I'm not in the UK. You can, Ali. I can send this out of the UK. Anyone can enter this one. My drum teacher that I talked about, who taught me the inverted double strokes many years ago. Very big UK jazz drummer. So tomorrow night, Lucy Landemore, 7 o'clock UK time. You do not want to miss it. Go and check her out before. She actually wasn't on here earlier. I don't know if she's still here, but that's tomorrow. And then on Wednesday night, same time, Live Chat 94 is the great UK drummer Steve Barney. And Steve has worked with Annie Lennox, Atomic Kitten, Anastasia, Sugar Babes, and I'm missing so many out that it would be embarrassing. Jeff Beck, but Steve's great. It's going to be a lot of fun. Steve's a riot. He's a very funny guy. So this week then, live guests, 93, Tuesday night, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, Lucy Landemore, and on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, Steve Barney. So looks like that we haven't got anyone that... Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick question about Lucy Landemore then. I just said to people that she won BBC Percussionist of the Year a few years ago, Young Percussionist of the Year a few years ago, playing a famous piece of music by Frank Zappa on the drums. What was it? Doesn't matter where you come from to win another pack of Remo Flams. So tell me what that piece of music was, and you get to win this. And if you can't get the answer to that one, then I'm keeping the prize. So let me know what that piece of music was. A famous Jeff Beck piece of music. Well done, Corey. You've won it. So if you'd like to DM me your addresses, and I will send you those out. So Jules and Corey, you won tonight's prize. So that's it. Got no questions. So everyone's okay. Everyone's happy. I hope that was good tonight. Learning and adapting. We've all had to learn and adapt, but like I said, we've always had to learn and adapt. And just maybe that's why artistic people or people within the music industry are coping a little bit better in this situation. Like I said, I'm not talking about financially. I'm not talking about liking it. I'm just saying maybe we've used this time to adapt and learn. If we don't learn and we don't adapt, we don't grow. And we always need to grow. What we do now is going to be different to what we do in 5 years' time or a year's time. So it's important to always learn from everybody and grow. That's it for tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. Please come and see me tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, like I said, for our live chat with Lucy Landemore tomorrow. And then on Wednesday night, we've got Steve Barney. I'll leave you with just saying, look after yourselves. Very important. I've said it before, I say it again. It's okay to be different. It's okay to feel down. Just, that's what happens, okay? And I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. So stay safe. Let's do what we're told to do, so hopefully we can all get out of this and all meet somewhere in reality. And I will see you all tomorrow. Look after yourselves. Good night.